Okay, morning guys. So let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. And we'll get up and racing again. Got my fresh coffee in front of me. Just watching this Dow. It looks set to go in my eyes. Another break high, you reckon? We'll see. We'll see. Markets are very strong. But in saying that, there's still some jitteriness around. So, all right, let's get up and going. Welcome to Trade Setup. Welcome to Morning Playbook. It is the 17th of the 6th, 17th of June. So anyone that trades the futures, by the way, Jason, on the SPY, it'll be rollover. I think it's this Thursday. So it's every third Thursday in the quarter, which is June. I think the third Thursday is tomorrow. So if you trade the futures, just be wary you're not trying to trade the June contract tomorrow because you all sorts of problems. G'day, how you going? Is it Ransom Carol? So yeah, that'll roll over. So normally the June on the Thursday, it'll go into the we got the September contract, and they just lock up the June massive bid and offer. So if you get caught up on that, you won't be able to get out whether you're up or down. Or you will, but it'll just get caught in the open, even if the market moves. So we're looking at, we've got the this is the June contract here at the moment. So this is the same sort of scenario. We're looking for the market a bit of a pop. This is the 5-minute chart. So I don't really want it to pop on the open. I don't want it to flush out those longs, and then, you know, if it does, I'll be looking for that pullback for a potential rally. But our market didn't go quite as hard as the US did overnight. You can see this was a close at 4 o'clock. We found support, rallied up. This is where the US got knocked down, but they got knocked down from the highs. They were up still. I mean, it was an 800-point drop. If anyone watched that, g'day Colin. Anyone was watching that last night, 800 or 900-point drop on the Dow on the Fed Reserve, and it got bought up pretty quick. But Powell is still saying that the recovery is going to take longer than everyone expects. I mean, there's massive euphoria around at the moment, but the way that the market's reacted, we look at copper. Copper got smacked down. Gold got knocked around a bit. The US dollar's back up. So there's a few things that are showing, to me, a few cracks. But in saying that, the market is still trending up. There's still, you know, addicted to stimulus. Stimulus is always going to come. Sort of a backstop from the Fed in bonds, corporate bonds. The jobs market is a massive hole for them at the moment in the US employment. And, you know, just because they're getting back to normal doesn't mean employment's coming back. There's going to be a lot of companies hurting. I think there's a lot of people are going to be hurting, and probably companies are going to go under without a doubt. So it just means that, you know, after this, everyone gets back to work as such. Doesn't necessarily mean that the jobs employment rate is going to rally. I still think, rally, it's going to go back up to where it was at, 4% from what are now 13%. I'd be surprised if it gets below 10. And then that's where people are going to start to realize, there's still corporate defaults, all that sort of stuff. There's still debts to pay back. That's when we could get, the market selling off. So a bit of buy the rumor, sell the fact. Everyone's expecting one thing. As soon as it comes about, bang, we could get sold off. Yeah. Well, what do they call it? The Trump pump, or the Trump pump. Yeah, he could not care less as long as it goes higher. Doesn't care what he does. Coming into elections, he wants to be able to gloat about this market and how well it's doing. I mean, retail sales come out last night, and he's gloating how good he's done. Strongest ever, great economy, da da da. It's got nothing to do with it. People haven't spent for ages, and they've come back, looking to spend, looking to buy things, and what's going to happen when a lot of these companies, through all the riots and things, have been hammered? Are there still going to be retail sales continuing on with that sort of strength? I doubt it. So I think it was more of a one-off. It was a very big surprise to the upside and lifted the market. It didn't lift the market as much as the market got hit on Powell's comments. So we'll see what's going on. Either way, this Dow looks like it's popping up. We'll keep an eye on that. Let me get over to the charts now. So the Dow, we just spoke about that. I'm sort of looking for this level at 26.25. I want to see a break, a retest, and hold, and then go. And I think we could be pushing back up, potentially towards these highs. But if you look at that, that was a recent sell-off. This is not from March. This is on a 30-minute chart. recent sell-off, we've got some resistance up there. We may find it runs out of steam again. It's getting extended. That big sell-off there that cleaned up a lot of buyers with that push down, it did bounce back. But if we start to hold below this level, we may start to creep down and retest these lows. So at the moment, I don't want to jump in long or short. I'm not going to short it for the fact that it could easily go up. The momentum is very strong. So, don't go against the flow. But if it starts to hold, there's going to be enough to squeeze. After this sort of spike lower, anyone that's been buying them up here off these lows, potentially is going to get a bit nervous, especially if it starts to roll again. So we'll keep an eye on that. DAX, I haven't really looked at the DAX, prepared it this morning, but much the same. They got smacked around on Fed Powell's speech, his testimony. So it's still, excuse me, the momentum's up, probably anchored around here at this low. It hasn't closed that gap, but not all gaps close. This one did, but it was bounce from a bounce. Excuse me, but just grab a quick drink. So we'll see how that goes. Hang Seng, I like to look at. What happens in the Asian market? That's it's sort of stuck. We've got this big resistance zone up at around 24.8. It did push through, but it's come back straight back down again, and we're finding a reaction back off that zone. So whether we chop around and have to build an inside level later on, meaning we come back down and market starts to get, I don't know why that's happening. The mouse is playing funny buggers. Do we get something like this later on, or we just come screaming back down and test these lows? We don't know. I mean, if it starts to hold a bid, buyers in here, is it going to be concerned about another epidemic, I guess, an increase in numbers? So that could keep the lid on things up at this resistance zone. But again, we'll see. So at the moment, we're just waiting for some sort of price action that we can see that can be tradable off the Hang Seng. Now, we'll go over to the Aussie. Now, the Aussie, big flush out on that move down. So we didn't get the strength that I would have expected from a big rally in the US. And then we got that big flush out right down to 68.34. So longer term, we've got a resistance zone, a potential resistance zone that is holding. You can see that, okay, it was only a minor high. We come back and flushed it out, pull back, retested from underneath and failed. And we flushed out lower. So whether we're going to reset here and start to head higher is one school of thought, but I'm more of, so get rid of that. Should really clean these up. So for me, I'm sort of looking for this big flush. I want to see it grind back up. This is what I'm ideally looking for. I'll pop up here and then maybe some weakness to come back in. This Aussie just looks like it's set to flush out a lot of these longs that have built up. Key resistance up here at 70, just above 70, 70.50. Big pullback. Whether this is the bid zone, it can reset. I mean, longer term, the action, it could do this, or we could see the opposite. We might see this sort of zone hold, and then it could start to break out with some higher lows and push back up to that 70.50. I mean, that looks like it could easily curve up, but it can also, with this flush here and retracement, it could easily press lower. Now, if the Dow is starting to start to get a bit of pressure, come under a bit of pressure, Forex.com to trade, not me. If Dow starts to find a bit of pressure and we get some profit taking, then that Aussie's going to crumble. And especially if the US dollar starts to head higher. Look at the US dollar at the moment. The US dollar, we got that big bounce last night. So that was on retail sales, basically on the back of retail sales, and Powell's speech, which was around the 12:30 mark. So it lifted on Powell's, held on to that level. So whether or not that's a safe haven bid back into, or we're getting some sort of reaction off this support zone, as some of these shorts close out, is yet to be seen. We haven't really held. I mean, the way that it popped up, comes straight back down and retest it, and it rallied back in. It's more choppy than anything else. So at the moment, we'll just have to wait and see whether it's going to be a safe haven bid. If it is, we're going to rally. You expect the US dollar to rally. If it's not, expect, the market the Dow starts to press back up to the highs, the all-time highs, then US dollar's going to sell off. But either way, they keep flooding the market with dollars. It's probably going to keep the lid on it a bit. We'll see. All right, over to the euro. Just want to touch on the euro too. I'm sort of looking for something like this. Maybe the dollar comes back and retests. You might get a bit of a pop in the euro, and then for it to roll over. I think there's just too much uncertainty around, even though the markets are heading higher. I think there's too much uncertainty for it to break up and through 114, for instance. I think we need to take out a few of these longs, clean them out, and you can see the market was quite steady. It was quite trending. As we start approaching that high, a bit of a blowout, that sort of grind back out. We've retested it and failed. Okay, once we took out this low here at around 112.45, 42, we've reset and it's rallied, but then it's failed at an inside level, which is basically the anchor of that trend down. We failed here at around 113.42 and come crashing straight back down again. So it looks like, to me, the sellers are quick to react. So anyone that's been buying up here, potentially in here, or even late in the trend, if you're still in, with signs of weakness, you'd probably be quick to trade to react to any sort of weakness into the euro. And if that's the case, there's less, obviously, more sellers and buyers starting to come in, because anyone that's bought has bought it early. If you're not, you probably wouldn't be buying up here with this kind of price action, because it's really choppy at the moment. We start to get some weakness, you get a bit of a pop up, it's going to drag in some buyers off this level, and then we hold this lower level, essentially below 113.45. That's what I'll be looking for a short entry, something like that. All right, let's get on to, not worry about the pound too much. Again, it's a bit of a chop fest at the moment. We've, head down, you take out the level, pull back. I mean, if anything, if the US dollar starts to head south again, that's going to buoy. The same with the euro. That sort of lines up with that grind back up in the euro if we find some dollar weakness. Not looking at that too much. Let's look at some cryptos. Any crypto traders? This is Ripple. Okay, so we've had highs up here, and I like the fact that this washed out the previous low. Cleaned it out, bounced back, held a higher level, and we rallied all the way back up to this inside high at 1950. So 0.1950 is a lot of decimal spots in cryptos. But anyway, the way we're grinding back off this resistance zone leaves me to believe we could pop. So I don't want to see that pop and then drop. I would rather see, what you'd want to see. Okay, we're starting to break out now. I don't want to get too far before we have some sort of reaction lower, and see if it can stick. That's what you want to look for, because I think that, well, to me, and through many years of trading, once you can pop up and you can do this kind of thing. It could drag in some buyers if you're just buying, so where your risk is going to be below here, and it turns around and gets smashed again. Okay, which you can do, and it can chop around quite a bit. If we pop up and then we pull back and hold an inside level, that's a sign that there is some buyers on the sidelines willing to come in and willing to support price. And that's why you're going to get that extension higher. And then you'd be looking for that extension through that, these previous highs, this failure zone around 1950. And if we can get that, if it fails at it and starts to back off, then you'd probably be quick to get out, because we could have a bit of a flush lower again. Or you might just pop up and pull straight back. So just, if that's the case and we get this kind of set up and we go long, we were watching, I want to see a decent extension through. I don't want to just see go through by a few points, something minor, because I'll be expecting a pullback. Something like this where it just pops up, finishes at the level, and then turns around and builds a high low. I don't want to see it finish at the level after a big clean out, and then you build a lower high off that and edge back down again. I want to see a good clean break straight through and just tear through that level. Okay, if we look at Bitcoin to me is showing something similar, but it's, we had this level here, it got absolutely smashed down here, washed it out again, and then again washed it out, and we've rebounded back up to these highs at around just below 9,600. It is showing a bit of strength, but it's not as clean as me for Ripple. Okay, and considering the fact we've got this high we've been talking about for quite a while, it's retested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times maybe at around 10,000, failed off that zone. There still could be, there's a trade in it. If it rallies back up to 10, great, 500 points, and then fails, great. It doesn't matter, we're still going long with tight risk. But if this holds an inside level and these are just a washout and we start to fail, essentially going through this support at around 93.73, I'm looking for a move down to 9,000 or below, a big washout again, see if it can hold up back down there. So either way, it should get enough momentum. If we start to push up off this kind of base, then we're heading to 10. If not, we start to break down through here, there could be a sharp spike back down to 9,000. Okay, so that was those two. And just a final onto gold. We had a long on gold here. Was it here? I think it was break up through here, pull back. It tagged it stopped right at the stop level. So we managed to stay in, depending on what you're trading through and how you were trading it. On the futures, it might have gone through, it had 1722, but we had the CFD and it didn't go through it. So, it managed to stay in, but when it got back up here and it was starting to fail again up at these highs, bailed for about $2 loss. So that's, to me, was just showing if this was strong. I was right. We really should not have flushed through this level. We should have just continued from the inside, pop up, pull back, inside high, low, and then go again back up to these highs. But it's not strong. So for me, the issues are we're going to hold a lower high on gold. With this flush down, and we're going to start to head south. Again, that works in to a US dollar rally, don't forget, at the moment. So I know there's a lot of talk about from gold bulls, gold's going to go to the moon, get on now while you can, da-da-da. But if everyone's talking it up, there's going to be a lot of people positioning long, and it could be fodder for a move down. The fuel to move down and really press down on top of those long positions. So that's about it. I wanted to go through, just quickly touch on copper. I mean, copper, we've spoken about this 262.50 zone a few times. We popped up, failed off it, popped up again, failed off it again dramatically last night. If this holds an inside level here, we could be looking at lower levels and a big push down, which doesn't marry well to strength in the US on the Dow. It could mean a bit of a flush out of shares, some of the on the indices, but we'll see how that goes. And crude oil, we touched on that, did we? No. Crude is at that point where lower highs are holding and higher lows are holding, so it's coming to a squeeze point. So for a break up, I'll be looking for that level. I want to see a pop up, maybe retest there, hold an inside level for that to start rallying. And we'll go push back up to 38, 39 bucks. And I wouldn't expect in the long term, because any sort of spike high has been followed by a big sell-off. So we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, that's about it. That's all I wanted to cover this morning. A bit longer than I expected, so I'm going to try to keep it a bit shorter and sweeter. Anyway, thanks for joining me. We'll be speaking to you again tomorrow. Have a good day. And remember, if you like what you hear, give us a like on YouTube and follow us on Twitter. Go to the website to find out more details. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.